The New Contented Little Baby Book, Chapter 1, Preparation for the Birth. When one talks of preparing for the birth, the first things that spring to mind are antenatal care and decorating the nursery. Both are important in their own ways. Antenatal care is of the utmost importance for a healthy pregnancy and helps to prepare you for the birth. And decorating the nursery for the new arrival is fun. While many of the antenatal classes on offer do give some advice on what is ahead after the birth, they often focus on the birth itself and overlook very practical tips which, if offered early enough, could save parents hours of time and stress after their baby is born. If you follow my routines from day one, you should be fortunate enough to have a contented and happy baby with some time for yourself. However, as you will see from my routines and charts, spare time is extremely limited, and believe me, mothers who are not following a routine have even less spare time. In this short amount of time, unless you have hired help, you will have to fit in the cooking of meals, shopping, laundry, etc. By doing the following things before the baby is born, you will gain many hours of free time after the birth. Order all your nursery equipment well in advance. Cots can sometimes take up to 12 weeks to be delivered, and there are many advantages in having the big cot from the beginning. Have all the bed linen, muslins and towels washed and ready for use. Make up the cot, Moses basket and pram. Prepare everything in the nursery so it is at hand the minute you get home from the hospital. Have the following baby essentials in stock: cotton wool, baby oil, nappies, nappy and moisturizing creams, baby wipes, soft sponges, baby brush, bath oil, and baby shampoo. Check that all the electrical equipment is working properly. Learn how the sterilizer works and how to put together the feeding bottles. Arrange a section of worktop in the kitchen where preparation and sterilization can be done. Ideally, it should be directly below a cupboard where all the baby's feeding equipment can be stored. Stock up on soap powder, cleaning materials, and enough kitchen and toilet rolls to last at least 6 weeks. Prepare and freeze a large selection of healthy homemade meals for you and your husband, partner. If you are breastfeeding, you should avoid the shop-bought ones that are full of additives and preservatives. Stock up on extra dry goods such as tea, coffee, biscuits, etc. It is inevitable that you will have extra visitors the first month, and supplies will soon go down. Purchase birthday gifts and cards for any forthcoming birthdays. Also have a good selection of thank you cards ready to send for all the gifts you will receive. Get up to date with any odd jobs that need to be done in the house or garden. The last thing you need once the baby has arrived is the hassle of workmen toing and froing. If breastfeeding, book your electric expressing machine well in advance. They are in big demand. Ask your midwife for advice on how to do this. The nursery. Like most parents, you will probably have your baby sleeping in your room with you during the night. However, I can't stress enough the importance of having the nursery ready on your return from the hospital. All too often, a mother will ring me up in a complete panic asking for advice on how to get a 3-month-old baby used to their own room. Many tears and much anxiety could have been avoided if the mother had got the baby used to his own room from day one. Instead, for the first few weeks, the baby dozes on and off during the early part of the evening in a car seat, then is taken to the parents' room for the last feed and the night. It is not surprising that these babies feel very abandoned when they are eventually put to sleep by themselves in an unfamiliar, dark room. From the very beginning, you should use the nursery for nappy changing and naps. In the evening after the bath, feed and settle the baby there from 7 to 10 p.m. The baby can still be transferred to your room after the last feed to make middle of the night feeding easier. But by getting your baby used to his room from the beginning, he will very quickly enjoy being there and see it as a peaceful haven, not a prison. When my babies are very small, if they have become overtired or overstimulated, I find that they will calm down immediately when taken to their room. And by 6 weeks, they are positively beaming when taken to their nursery for the bath and bedtime routine. Decoration. It is not essential to spend a fortune on decorating and furnishing a baby's room. A room with walls, windows, and bed linen covered in teddy bears soon becomes very boring. Plain walls can easily be brightened up with a colourful frieze and perhaps a matching pelmet and tie-backs. This makes it easy to adapt the room as the baby grows, but avoid the need to redecorate totally. Another very cost-effective and fun way to liven up the room is to use sheets of children's wrapping paper as posters, which are bright and colourful and can be changed frequently. The cot. Most baby books advise that in the early days a cot is not necessary, as babies are happier in a Moses basket or small crib. I am not convinced that they are happier and sleep better in these. As I have said, I much prefer to get my babies used to their big cot from day one. By doing this, I have never encountered a problem when they outgrow the Moses basket and start to sleep the whole night in their big cot in the nursery. When choosing a cot, it is important to remember that it will be your baby's bed for at least 2 or 3 years and should therefore be sturdy enough to withstand a bouncing toddler. Even very young babies will eventually move around in their cot. I would suggest choosing a design with flat spars instead of round ones, as pressing the head against a round spar could be quite painful for a young baby. Cot bumpers are not advised for babies less than 1 year old, as they can end up sleeping with their heads pressed up against the bumpers. Because body heat escapes through the top of the head, blocking it off increases the risk of overheating. This is thought to be a contributing factor in cot death. Other points to bear in mind when choosing cots are: look for 2 or 3 different base height levels. Drop sides should be easy to put up and down without making a noise. Test several times. The cot should be large enough to accommodate a 2-year-old child comfortably. All cots must comply with the recommendations set out by the British Standards Institute, number BS 1753. Spars must be no less than 2.5 centimetres apart and no more than 6 centimetres. When the mattress is at its lowest position, the maximum distance between that and the cot top should be no more than 65 centimetres. There should be a gap of no more than 4 centimetres around the edge of the mattress. Buy the best possible mattresses that you can afford. I have found that foam mattresses tend to sink in the middle within a few months. The type I have found to give the best support for growing babies is a natural cotton spring interior type. All mattresses must comply with safety standards numbers BS 1877 and BS 7177. Bedding for the cot. Everything should be 100% white cotton so that it can be washed on a hot wash along with the baby's night clothes. Due to the risk of overheating or smothering, quilts and duvets are not recommended for babies under 1 year old. If you want a pretty matching top cover for your baby's cot, make sure it is 100% cotton and not quilted with a nylon filling. For parents who are handy with a sewing machine, a considerable amount of money can be saved by making flat sheets and drawer sheets out of a large cotton double bed sheet. Pictures on page 5. You will need at least the following bedding: 3 stretch cotton fitted bottom sheets. Choose the soft jersey type cotton rather than the toweling type, which can very quickly become rough and worn looking. 3 flat smooth cotton top sheets. Avoid flannelette, which gives off too much fluff for young babies. This can obstruct the nose and cause breathing problems. 3 cotton small weave cellular blankets plus 1 wool blanket for very cold nights. 6 flat, smooth cotton pram sheets. These are small sheets that are used for prams and Moses baskets, but are also ideal as drawer sheets, which you should put across the head end of the bottom sheet. This eliminates the need to remake the whole cot in the middle of the night or during naps should your baby dribble or his nappy leak.